We are officially on episode 20 of the Six Figure Brand Podcast, which is a super exciting milestone. And if you've been listening for a while, then you have definitely heard me mention brand strategy a whole bunch of times. But you might still be wondering, what exactly is brand strategy? How does it fit into my business? And do I even need it? So that's what we're going to dive into on today's episode. If you are somebody who has been tweaking your messaging for months and months and months, or trying a zillion different brand colors and fonts and Canva templates and wondering why your brand just doesn't feel like you, or why things aren't working, or why this feels so difficult, then this episode is going to help sort through some of that for you. We are diving deep into what brand strategy really is, how it impacts every part of your business, and why it's not just something for huge companies or businesses who have $10,000 design budgets. If you have ever felt like you're attracting the wrong clients, had a hard time explaining what you do and who it's for, or you're just ready to elevate your brand and you don't really know what that next step is, then this is the episode that's going to help you finally figure that out and understand what the heck brand strategy is and why it is the foundation that your business has been missing. Welcome to the Six Figure Brand Podcast, where each week we're pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to build a six-figure business as an online service provider. I'm your host, Morgan. I'm a branding expert, online agency owner, mom of two, and military spouse, and I'm obsessed with helping entrepreneurs like you understand the ins and outs of branding so that you can use it to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. Whether you're just starting out or focused on scaling, we're diving into everything you need to build a profitable and sustainable online business. Let's get to it. Okay, let's start at the beginning. What even is brand strategy, right? If you're wondering that, you're not alone. A lot of people come to me and they say, I don't really know exactly what brand strategy is. Somebody told me I need it, or I heard it somewhere, but I don't really get it. So we're going to talk about that today. To put it as simply as I possibly can, brand strategy is really the foundation for everything you do in your business. It's what you do, who you do it for, why you do it, how you show up, what it's like to work with you, etc. So it really is the all-encompassing experience of your brand. It is not just your logo or a mood board or your brand colors or any of that. It's the really, really, really important step that comes before we dive into your visuals, which is really what most people think of whenever they think of branding. So I want to go through kind of the 10 core elements of your brand strategy that we really focus on at Expect & Co. and talk about why those matter and how you use them. So first and foremost is your purpose. This is going to be your deeper why. I know you have heard in the online business world, define your why. And while that sounds frilly, it is extremely important. So your purpose is going to be the big driver behind why you started your business, why you do what you do. Basically, why do you care? And I will caveat with, you're in business to make money, obviously, but this is one step deeper than that. And it's going to really inform how you emotionally connect with your audience and whether or not they believe you when you say that you want to help them and you're the right person. Next is going to be your mission. So mission and purpose get kind of conflated frequently, and people think that it's the same thing, and it's not. So purpose is your why. Mission is the tangible thing that you're here to do on a daily basis. So let's say you're a health and wellness coach who works with postpartum moms. Your purpose probably is going to be something to the effect of you want women to have a more empowered postpartum experience and get back to feeling like themselves sooner after having a baby. Whereas your mission is the clear articulation of your business's role and how it serves people. So in this case, your mission would be, we support postpartum moms in doing hormone analyses and providing nutrition plans to help them balance their hormones and get back to feeling good. So you can see where purpose is less tangible, whereas mission, there's like a direct thing that you do tied to it. Your mission is super important because it helps to align your messaging and it keeps your marketing super focused. Next is your vision. So these are your long-term goals. Where do you hope to go with your business? This is really helpful internally, like whenever you start growing your team so that everyone can kind of stay aligned, but it also gives your audience something to believe in and your business a like really tangible trajectory. If you start your business and you don't have a vision clearly laid out, then you're going to kind of just flounder and not really be able to plan in the long term and grow intentionally. Next is one of my favorites to work on with clients, brand values. So I will likely do a whole episode about brand values because I think that they're super, super important. And I also think that they get done wrong a lot. But to keep it short and sweet for the purpose of this episode, brand values are the principles that shape how you operate and make decisions. So what do you care about? What is a non-negotiable to you? They're going to influence how you show up in your content, how you treat your clients, the overall like voice and tone of your brand. And they are super, super, super key for building trust and alignment with your audience. So your audience wants to see that they share your values. It's also very important that your values are more than just some words on a page on your website, right? Like you have to incorporate those into everything you do and really live them out, because if you don't, people are going to see that you're faking it. So that's a very Cliff Notes version of my soapbox about values. Stay tuned in the coming weeks and we'll do a whole other episode about that because it's a big deal. Next is going to be your ideal client. So your ideal client is who your offer is for. But when we work with clients on brand strategy at Spect & Co., it's really important to us that we go a lot deeper than surface level demographics. So I don't really care what your ideal client's Starbucks order is or where they shop or how many kids they have, unless that's relevant to your business. Really what I want to know about your ideal client is what are their goals, what's holding them back, what kind of a mindset are they in, what are their buying behaviors, how do they make decisions, because this is going to impact your offers, your messaging, your marketing, and really everything that you do in order to attract those ideal clients and then convert them. Next is the fifth core element of brand strategy. It's going to be a competitor analysis. So I will start this by saying that I do believe that there's room for everyone in the online space. And I don't think that we should obsess over our competition to the point that it's like dragging us down. However, it is very important to do some sort of competitor analysis because we want to understand the landscape of your industry. So it's not about copying what anyone else is doing. And it's also not about playing a comparison game and saying, oh, they're so much better than me. That's not what we're doing here. The purpose of a competitor analysis is to start identifying gaps and opportunities in your market so that you can position yourself differently. So we're not really attaching any value here. We're just saying, okay, here are 3 people or 5 people who offer similar services to me in the online space. What are they doing? What are they doing well? What are they maybe not doing well? That's an opportunity for me to stand out. And how am I different than them? And that's going to tie directly into the next point we're going to talk about, which we call your special something. It's also commonly referred to as your UVP, unique value proposition, your differentiator. So this is exactly what it sounds like. What makes you special? Why are you the go-to? Why should your audience hire you over the 100 other people that offer your services? Because I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There are tons of other people who do the same thing you do, but that doesn't mean that they're right for your audience. And so your special something is how we're going to call that out and make it really apparent to them that you are their person. So this is going to be your unique approach, your unique perspective, maybe a special process that is extremely valuable that they can only get from you. It's what sets you apart, gives people a reason to choose you. And this is the thing that we want to make sure that we weave into every single thing your brand does. We want it to be apparent based on your visuals and your messaging, every social post you make, every email you send out. We, for lack of a better term, really want to be like shoving this down people's throats. Next, we've got your brand story. This is, again, exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of your origin and evolution. How did you get here? Why do you do what you do? And the goal here is really to build emotional resonance and trust with your audience. So it humanizes your brand. It helps people relate to you. They want to know who they're hiring. I've heard this said so many times in so many different ways. People hire people. So if they don't know the person behind the brand and there's someone else that offers your same service that really does do a great job of that, then chances are they're going to go with them because they feel like, okay, well, I want to give this person my money versus give this business my money. So your brand story really is how we humanize your brand and help people feel like they have a relationship with you before they even hire you. Next, we've got your brand voice. So this is how you sound when you show up online, whether that's written, visual, audio. It doesn't matter if we're talking about sending emails, recording a podcast, doing videos for YouTube, showing up on social media in like Instagram stories, any of those things. This is going to include your tone, your vocabulary, the way that you talk, kind of the attitude, and it keeps your content really recognizable and consistent and also kind of lets people feel like they know you a little bit so they can do a little bit of a vibe check. So for example, you've by now listened to probably a few episodes of this podcast and you know that my brand voice is pretty casual, pretty friendly. I will like crack a joke or be a little sassy now and again. I'm not overly serious. I don't swear a ton in my content, those types of things. And finally, this is probably my favorite behind brand values is going to be client experience. So this is kind of that emotional arc of working with you, but really it's, from the first time that your audience stumbles across you on the internet to after they've hired you and done their offboarding, how do people feel when they're in your world? This is going to include things like communication style, process, boundaries, brand touch points. A consistent brand experience is what turns a client into a raving fan and a solid referral partner. The reason why we talk about client experience last is because once we've nailed down these first 9 elements, so your purpose, mission, vision, values, ideal client, competitor analysis, special something, brand story, and voice, we need to wrap all of that up into every single touch point that a client has in your brand experience. Every single touch point that a client has during their client experience with you. And that is how you get people walking away being just absolutely floored by the experience and like they can't wait to tell their friends about you and are like, you need to hire this person. I can't believe what great work they did for me. So each of these elements that we've talked about so far works together to shape kind of the overall perception of your brand, visually, emotionally, and they inform quite literally everything that you do in your business, from your content strategy to your visual brand identity to your website design, your sales process, to maybe some of the like SOPs or email scripts or whatever that your team uses when they're communicating with your clients. All of that is informed by these 10 core brand elements. So now that you kind of have an understanding of what exactly is included in your brand strategy, let's talk a little bit about some signs that maybe your strategy is lacking a little bit. So the biggest one that is a major red flag to me is that you are either not attracting ideal clients at all, like you're not getting a lot of leads, or you're getting leads, but they're not ideal leads. So like it's not an aligned audience. What that tells me is that you haven't done an ideal client avatar and your purpose, mission, and vision are probably not coming through in your marketing. So that's a good sign that we need to revisit all of this stuff. Some other key indicators that it's probably time to work on strategy would be is your brand feeling a little off? Like your visuals, messaging, and your overall vibe just are not lining up with where your business is headed? You probably don't need another pretty logo. You actually need a solid strategy behind your brand. That's exactly what we'll build together inside the Standout Brand Strategy session, a one-on-one deep dive into your brand foundation so that you can finally show up with clarity, consistency, and confidence. And if you're thinking about working with Spect & Co. on branding or web design, this is your first step for every single project that we do together. Clients who have gone through this process have tripled their audience size, doubled their revenue, and raised their rates by 30% or more. Use the link in the show notes to book your session, and don't forget to enter code SFBPOD at checkout to save $100. That you have no idea what to post or how to talk about your offers. You have trouble articulating your value or your uniqueness, so you don't really have like a super defined special something, and that obviously makes it really hard to convince somebody why you're the best person for them to hire. You have outgrown your brand and you don't really know how to update it. You feel like it doesn't match your business anymore and you just like can't figure out what that next step is, and so then you keep rebranding over and over and over again because nothing feels quite right. Or, and this is not really a sign that you might be lacking strategy, but more of an opportunity when it makes a lot of sense to revisit your strategy, is if you're making a huge shift in your business. So if you are changing your offers, changing your audience, like the format in which you work with people. So if you used to do a lot of one-on-one services and now you're moving to like course model, those are all really good opportunities. Before you get too far down the road, just revisit the strategy piece and say, okay, is everything aligned? Am I doing all of this very on purpose before you build a brand or do all this marketing and then have to circle back and say, okay, why is this not working? So what happens when you have nailed your brand strategy? What does that look like tangibly in your business? First and foremost, you are going to have super clear messaging that actually resonates with your audience and converts. So I talk a lot in my own marketing for Spect & Co. about how we build brands that actually help you grow your business. And this is what I mean, because you know what that message is. You know who you're talking to, you know how to say it. That's going to attract them and then convert them into clients. Your offers feel more aligned and are easier for you to sell, again, because they make sense for your audience and you know exactly how to talk about them. You have a polished and cohesive online presence. So this is going to be that visual piece. Doing the strategy first makes the visual so much easier because you're not saying, okay, well, I like these colors, or this is my favorite flower, or whatever. Let's just do that. And then down the road having to be like, well, how come this isn't really resonating with anyone? You're basing all those visual decisions on actual strategy, so you know that it's going to resonate with your audience. Content creation becomes easier. You stop having to wonder, what do I post? How do I say this? So we're out of that overthinking spiral. And you really can run your business with confidence. You show up more confidently. You're excited to send people to your website, your social media profiles. When you get on a sales call, your prospective clients feel that confidence, and it makes them in turn feel confident in hiring you. And you start getting more consistent referrals because you've nailed your client experience, like we talked about earlier, and people are excited to refer you to their friends. And then I would say lastly, and this is sort of all encompassing, you get to stop second guessing everything. I can't tell you how many clients I've worked with that are like, I just don't know if I'm doing this right. I'm not sure what colors I should choose, what to post, if I'm even talking to the right people. Yeah, that all stops when you've nailed your brand strategy. You know exactly what to do. You can make smart decisions with your business and your brand, and you actually have a direction that you're going. So you're not just throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping that it sticks. So if any of those kind of pain points resonated with you and you're thinking, I want all of those things, then here are a few signs that it probably is time to move forward with some brand strategy work. If you have validated your offers, so people have bought them and have confirmed for you that this is exactly what I needed and you got me a great result, but you're still struggling to grow. If you're ready to raise your prices, but you're kind of hesitant because you're like feeling like your brand doesn't feel put together enough. If you have recently changed directions or changed your audience in your business, if you feel like things just feel off whenever you're showing up online, or you feel like you're kind of like hiding and playing small. And then finally, if you're sick of just winging it. So I mentioned earlier, throwing spaghetti at a wall. If you're tired of feeling like I'm just making this up as I go and you want some real clarity on how to use your brand, grow your brand, and make really smart strategic decisions, then those are all signs that you probably are in a good position to start working on your brand strategy. Some things you can do to kind of prepare for that before you either DIY it or hire somebody, which we'll talk about in a minute, is really audit your current offers. So know what's working, what's not working, what's selling, what isn't selling, what kind of feedback have you gotten from your clients. I would say also reflect on past clients who you've really loved to work with, maybe collect some feedback from them, identify kind of what worked, what didn't work, what you did love about them, what maybe you didn't love about them. And this is a weird suggestion, but be open to the idea that this can be really, really simple. People want to overcomplicate brand strategy and they think, oh, I need this really clever tagline or this or that, and want to like get cute and fancy with it. And honestly, the best brand strategies that I've ever seen are stupidly simple. So just be open to that if you're going through like some of this brand strategy work, if you're thinking this feels so obvious, it's too easy, honestly, that might be a good thing. So now you have a good understanding of what exactly brand strategy even entails, how to know when you need it or when you might be lacking it, and kind of what transformation that can bring to your business. Let's talk about what it looks like to invest in brand strategy. And I will preface this by saying there's a ton of brand strategists out there on the internet, and I encourage you to research all of them, talk to all of them. I'm going to tell you about my offers for brand strategy, and I obviously would love to work with you, but mostly I want to show you that it is possible for you to DIY your strategy and also what it looks like to work with a pro on strategy. So this sounds like a little bit of a sales pitch, and it is, but even if you're not interested in hiring, I would encourage you to continue listening because I think that you'll get some really good value out of just hearing kind of the ins and outs of strategy support. So at Spect & Co, we have two ways to get support in brand strategy. Either you can DIY it or you can hire me to do it with you. Let's talk first about the DIY option. So I have the Standout Brand Foundations Workbook. It's a DIY option that walks you through the exact process that I use with my one-on-one clients to kind of map out all these core elements of brand strategy. So there are journaling prompts, there's some templates of how to write some of these statements. You also get a brand values bank to kind of spark some ideas for your brand values, client feedback questionnaires that you will send to your clients to then collect the feedback you need to do your ideal client analysis and competitor audit. Literally step by step, exactly what I do with a client one-on-one. But it's a Google Doc, you can do it all at your own pace, and obviously the investment is much, much, much less. So pretend you haven't listened to this episode. If you bought the Brand Foundations workbook, worked through it, I can all but guarantee you that by the time you're done, you will have so much clarity around who your brand is for, what you do, why you do it, how to talk about it, and how to move forward and take that next step. Again, the benefit here to the DIY option is one, you can do it at your own pace. Two, the investment is significantly less. So it's $29 versus close to $1,000 for one-on-one strategy support. And I think that this does a really great job of actually teaching you about brand strategy and not just you sit back and let me do it for you. So if you are in the DIY camp and you just really want to become an expert in this stuff, and feel like you want to try doing it yourself, then I would highly, highly recommend starting there. Again, my point here is to say brand strategy is within reach for you no matter what your budget is. You don't have to be a six-figure business in order to invest in brand strategy. And I would encourage you that taking the time now, maybe when your business is newer or things feel slow or you feel like you're struggling, to really invest the time and effort into that is probably going to be a huge driving factor in getting you to those six figures. Then obviously we have one-on-one brand strategy support. So this is going to be my standout brand strategy session, and it will be for business owners who really want that personalized guidance, deeper clarity, and a customized roadmap from me of what the heck all this stuff is and what to do with it. So functionally how this works is you do some brand homework, we get on a 90-minute intensive call, and I go through that standout brand foundations workbook with you, and I help you nail down all of this stuff. Then we say goodbye. I take all of this and put it into a full PDF brand strategy guide. I will record a Loom video kind of going through it all and then saying, okay, your strategy's buttoned up. Now here are your options for moving forward. Depending on you and your business and your goals, your ability levels, all of that stuff, typically the recommendation for moving forward is going to be move forward into a full done for you branding project, in which case you do get to apply your strategy session investment towards that package. Or I will tell you, hey, go join the Six-Figure Brand Society because I really think that you can DIY most of this and then you can just have me for support. And occasionally I will tell people you can just take it from here on your own. I had a client recently who she's a web designer. She has a great eye for design. And now that we've nailed her strategy, she knows exactly what to do. And to be honest, she doesn't need my help. So she's fully capable of running with everything herself. The standout brand strategy session is really great for you if you are kind of feeling like, okay, I've been banging my head against a wall trying to figure this out forever and I just can't crack the code. And I feel like you have like all this chaos in your head and a million half-baked ideas and thinking, I just need somebody to make this make sense. That's exactly what we do in that 90-minute session. So the investment for this type of one-on-one support is $997. And again, if you do move forward into a done-for-you branding package, then you get to apply that $997 towards your package. So it kind of works as a little bit of a down payment for your design package also. And then if you are not quite ready for one-on-one support, then we do have the Standout Brand Foundations workbook. Both of these will be linked in the show notes. They're not going anywhere. These are the first step to working with Spect & Co. So I'm going to do another episode about this at some point. But you can't just come to me for design anymore. You have to do the strategy session if you're wanting to work with Spect & Co. on design. And the reason for that is if you jump straight to visuals, your brand isn't going to do anything for you. It's just going to look pretty. Focusing on strategy first is what allows us to create brands that really do actually drive growth in your business. So to kind of wrap us up today, if you're listening to this and thinking, I'm not ready for all of that, or I don't know the answers, or this all seems too hard, I want to encourage you by saying most people don't have this all figured out all at once. And if that's you, then maybe consider buying the workbook and work through it a little bit at a time. Or if you're thinking, I don't even know where to start, I just want somebody to do this for me, I would love to help you with that too. But regardless of what route you go, whether it's hiring me, hiring somebody else, DIYing it, whatever, starting with strategy will make everything easier. And I can promise you that. It will make creating your visuals easier. It will make knowing what type of content to create easier. It will make every single decision you make with your brand 1,000 times easier. So start wherever you're at. Don't feel like, oh, I need to be more successful in order to invest in brand strategy, or I need to have more time, or whatever. I really, really believe that brand strategy is the number one thing that every business needs in order to grow, because so much of that informs everything else that you do in your business. If you are going to hire a copywriter, having a solid brand strategy will help them. If you're going to hire a social media manager, having a solid brand strategy will help them. If you're going to hire somebody to pitch you for podcasts, having a solid brand strategy will help with that. So I'm going to link all the offers I talked about in the show notes. I would love to chat with you about brand strategy on Instagram. My handle is @SpectandCo. That's always linked in the show notes also. But seriously, please do reach out and let me know what resonated with you. What questions do you still have? How are you feeling about your strategy? This is something I care a lot about, and I promise you I will never get sick of talking about it. Thanks for tuning in to the Six Figure Brand Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to rate the show and leave a review on whatever app you're listening on. And as a thank you, I'll send you coffee on me. Yes, I'm serious. As a smaller show for now, you taking the time to do this makes a huge impact on how we can reach more people and how I can continue to create this content for free. When you take a screenshot of your review, follow and tag me on Instagram at Spect&Co. I'll send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. As always, don't forget to check out the show notes for any links or resources I mentioned during the episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week.